So good old Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has spoketh. Has spoken and set down the law. He set down the law on the standards. He set down the law on all the hair. Yep, and facial hair. See, you saw the video what I did about soldiers having facial hair. But let me talk to you about how I feel about this, because I'm kind of yay or nay on this. Follow me over here. I'll take you there. So good old Mr. Pete Hegseth. Well, let me make sure I address him the right way, because he is my boss, and I like the guy. Haven't met him. I will never talk ill will about my boss, why they're in off. No, I'm only kidding. No, but all in all, real talk. So we had this big issue going on about standards. The standards throughout the years have laxed, if you will. They've kind of went down. Put it like this. So originally I was in the Marine Corps. You guys know that already. And I switched over to the Army. And we're talking about like 1997. Yeah, I'm old. 1997. And the Marine Corps they hold certain standards. At that time, let's back it up a little bit more. Let's back it up to the Vietnam era days. Let's say the Marine Corps had their standards, and we're talking about grooming standards and soldiering standards, or Marine standards, and the Army had their standards at the same time. And at that time, those standards kind of were on the same level. Being a soldier, being a Marine, you had to have your hair, you follow the regulations, AR 670-20, AR 600, you had to follow all the standards. Like I said, there's the hair, which you can wear, no earrings, etc., etc., the tattoos. And all of a sudden, everything took a shift, when it became wartime. So wartime happened, and then everything all of a sudden automatically got laxed. The Marine Corps didn't take a real big slide over to the left. They loosened the standards a little bit. Because when I came up in the Corps, you couldn't have tattoos below where your shirt cut off at. And the same thing with the shorts. So everything had to be to where it can be covered up when you're dressed. Especially if you did get anything like that, I don't think you got in trouble, but you definitely, if you wanted to try to do the notable embassy duty, you couldn't do it, because you have to be able to stand in your, your alphas? Yeah, your alphas. You have to be able to stand in your short sleeve and look presentable. You represent the United States. So they were hell-bent about that. War kicks off. Numbers are low. The Marine Corps actually started letting people get sleeves. I don't know how that came about, where it came about, but that's one of the things they kind of slid on a little bit, or loosened up a little bit, because you needed to get more Marines recruiting. The Army did the same thing, but the Army went way further. So stop talking about the Marines, go on the Army side. The Army loosened up the PT standard. As you see, they have it to where anybody can grow all kinds of hair. You can, from dreads to different colored hair, the fingernails. They weren't, even though these things were in regs, no one was enforcing them. The weight was a huge one. And all these things were about just so they can keep people in, retention. Numbers were low. They didn't want to implement the draft, but then it got out of hand. Now we're back into a garrison army, so we're not in wartime anymore. We're a garrison army. Good old Pete Hegseth stepped in. He was tired of all the BS, all the changes, and wanted to tighten up the reins, and it's causing mass hysteria. The biggest one that started out and came about was the whole thing about the beards. Now, there was a lot of talk about him instituting that or implementing that whole beard thing as a racist type of issue, or racist thing to go against black people. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I really don't. Because if you, and the people that are actually arguing about it, they've seen the same thing I've seen. I've seen beards get out of hand. I mean, first of all, people are getting shaven profiles just so they can have a beard. Okay, first and foremost, people were making up getting into religions just so they can have a beard. So there was nothing honorable and noble about how they were doing it. Then no one was checking profiles. No one really cared. Then I started seeing young guys who couldn't grow beards have a little chin strap, a little chin piece. Seen that a lot. And then if you watch my one video, I seen the one warrant that I sat next to, and I kept looking over at him. He had a straight goatee, and I'm talking about the thin boy. I'm talking about the thin boy. And I'm like, wait a minute, when were we allowed to wear goatees? I was like, when did this happen? So this has gotten out of hand, I mean, I understand the profile, because if you have a fasciitis, which is most black people get it, some white people get it. When you shave your hair, it gets so low under the skin, it actually curls back in the skin, and then it swells the skin up, and then it gets infected, and it starts. It's hard to shave over top of it. I get it, but now it's to the point, or to the degree to where if you have a shaven profile for that issue, they can chapter you out. Now, how I feel about that, I think that might be a little bit too far, to tell you the truth. But then again, how's it go now? Like, you can't have a profile for facial hair for over a year. I don't know. I don't think it's a straight year. I think it's a culmination of dates that equal a year. But anything over a year, they can start chaptering you out. Do I think it's fair? No, in a sense. And I'll tell you why. Like myself, I can put a razor on my face now. I sure can. I can shave with the grain, against the grain, and I can go each and every other way, but I used to shave with the grain. And if you notice, shave this morning, you don't see many bumps. Well, that's from years of shaving. I mean, I've done magic shave, which is the chemical shave, but this is after years of shaving and my face getting tougher. I remember I used to ask my dad the same thing, like, why can you shave and your face is smooth, and with me, I bump up? And he said, it just takes time. So this is where it kind of sucks for the younger soldiers, because their face isn't tough enough yet, haven't grown out to that yet to where they can do that. So they're the ones that are going to feel the heat on this. Now, are there other ways to get around this? Yes, there's depilatory creams, which is magic shave. You put the cream on, it's like Nair. It melts the hair off, but you got to do it the right way, or you'll leave patches of hair, or you'll take patches of skin off. Done it for many years. It's rough stuff, but it works great. The other one is you get the little clippers. You get the little peanut clippers, and you knock them all the way down to the skin. And I've done the peanut clippers to cut my head. So there are other ways around it. But as far as the razor, Pete Hegseth is not playing. And then now he's really tightening up on the whole body fat thing. Like, you seen that one girl, that one specialist who's always talking about eating chocolate and everything. Oh, yeah, they got rid of her. Because she's not meeting the standard. And you're out there being flamboyant about it and boasting about, like, hey, look at what I'm eating. But, yeah, I just want to bring this up. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. How do you guys feel about these changes? Do you feel that this is the right thing to bring the military back on track to being more a professional military? These aren't warfighter type things, but it's more of an image, a military image. Because the ponytail, for example, when they let women actually have the ponytail, they were going crazy with that, letting it go below the shoulders and all that stuff. Same thing with dreads. You can have dreads when people were going wild with it, to where you couldn't even put a hat on, different color hair. I mean, I think is it time to be uniform? Yes. We're back to a garrison military, so why not just be garrison? I mean, personally, when it comes to the beards, honestly, I think it would be one of those things where it'd be great if it was lottie-dottie everybody, nobody can have a beard. I mean, and people might kick me for this one, but let's say even for religious purposes, you shouldn't be able to have a beard. And this is me just speaking. This is me speaking. I'm not representing the military in this one. I'm just talking. And the reason why I say that is because when you join the military, you join a culture. And when you join the culture, you embrace everything as part of that culture. And when you become a soldier, you got to adhere to the culture. So if it's, you still can represent your religion and practice it all in the same, with or without a beard. I mean, I know people that are Muslim and they still pray 5 times a day, and they go into a little area, they go away from everybody else, do their prayer. Matter of fact, if you didn't know them, you wouldn't even know they were doing it. But if they're in the middle of work, can they stop work and do it? No. But they will find time to do it. So, and that's where the whole thing with the beard, as a religious thing, I mean, yeah, when you're on vacation, you let your beard grow in, yes. But that's how I feel about that, but take that with a grain of salt. I mean, let me know how you feel about that, because if everybody's the same, then no one could feel different about the other person. Like I said, some people, these young guys are having little chin straps. I mean, people were coming in with beards lined up like they just came from the club. So, I mean, is the Secretary of War doing justice? Is he making the military better? Or do you think this is going overboard? So I'm not going to take up all your time. I just want to bring that up. So what do you guys think about that? Should he dial back a little bit, or should he really enforce this whole thing? It might be a generational thing too, because older soldiers like myself may look at it one way, and new junior soldiers might look at it another way. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Like and subscribe. And you guys stay dangerous, and peace. I'm out.